Hello, movers out there. My name is Death, and I'm sorry I haven't brought a video to you guys in a long time. I've been really busy. I got a new job, which allowed me to get a new computer, and I'm still shifting everything over. But since the fact that I have a chance, a little bit of time before I go to work, I decided to do a couple suggestions. Uh, One was for me just to talk, and so I'm gonna kind of do that. But I'm actually gonna do what someone else suggested as well, which was read some of my writings. Someone I'm really close to that watches the channel knows that I write, and I've sent a few things into him, and he told me that I should do this one of what I have, and then what I'm hoping is in reading it to you guys, it's gonna um, give me more inspiration to actually get in and finish it. And I've tried to do this like 6 times, and my voice is killing me. I've also been terribly sick, but I think I'm finally over that. Anyway, so it's called All That Remains. It was my attempt at a zombie apocalyptical story. And once again, I go to record, and my hair is killing me. It is killing me. Hair's killing me. Anyway, alright. Fuck a duck. I need to get a haircut. Get it restyled and shit. Chapter 1. Rain and Alcohol. Light suddenly illuminates my room. The headlights of my father's car. He's drunk again, seeing how he managed to park his car in the front yard. I heard the car door slam shut. He mumbled something as he passed by my window. He hasn't been the same since, well, ever. He's been through so much. He did 2 tours in World War V in 2020. His team was captured and tortured. Upon their escape, his best friend, Andre Vaughn, was killed by some creature who sounded like it was from a horror novel. Dad still wears his golden cross that hangs on a silver chain. I was just a child. My mother died giving birth to me, and my uncle basically took care of me. Well, after I went through 10 foster families. Then I went to live with him. They began to think I was a troubled child due to my past and the way I dress. I really don't blame them for thinking that way. Once my father returned from the war, I was able to live with him. And I chose to, because Uncle Tom was kinda nuts. He was severely schizophrenic and had terrible hallucinations when he didn't take his medication, which was pretty much every day. Due to all that, I went to live with my dad. Once the light illuminated my room, I woke up softly. My long black hair was flooded with bedhead. I brushed out of my eyes and looked at the clock. It showed 2:15 a.m. I sighed and crawled out of bed. I yawned lightly, walking down the hallway to the living room, and I saw my dad sitting on the couch with a glass of Jack on ice in his hand. Dad, don't you think you've had enough to drink for tonight? My father turns to me. I will drink as much as I want. I shook my head, ruffling my hair. Come on, Dad, it's time to sleep. You can drink more tomorrow, I said, approaching him. He quickly jumped to his feet. You are not my superior. You will not order me around like some dog. A look of confusion arose on my face. I wasn't ordering you. I just think that you should get some sleep. I brought my hands up cautiously as I saw the anger in my dad's face. My father has always had his moments of rage. He threw his drink at me, and I ducked. The glass shatters at the fireplace. As I ducked, my father ran and tackled me, pinning me, and unleashed his rage. He unloads hit after hit after hit, and blood begins to pour from a gash in my head. My father grabs a long shard of the glass and slices down my right eye. I scream out loudly. My father rises to his feet, breathing heavily, watching me as I roll around in a pool of my own blood. Then he runs off to his bedroom, slamming and locking the door behind him. I fight through the pain and make it to my bathroom, and grab the first aid kit. I also grab a rag, wet it, and try to wipe the blood. The wound burns as a raging fire ablaze in the forest. I grab some antibacterial spray. Hesitating for a moment, I spray the wound 3 times. Each time the wound burned worse, like adding gasoline to a fire. I scream at the top of my lungs as the wound burned hot as lava. I quickly wrap and tape a couple of gauze pads to the wound. The pain is so extreme, my sight blurs, dizziness takes over as I fall to the floor and fade into blackness. The next morning I wake to the blood-covered counter and floor. My memories are blurred and fragmented. I must have repressed most of last night because all I remember was my father throwing his drink and then waking to my bloody reflection in the mirror. The pain is still tremendous, and I stumbled into the front room and grabbed the phone. I dialed the number to the No Name Cafe where I was supposed to work today. The phone rang and then her angelic voice answered the phone. No Name Cafe, this is Ashley. How may I help you? Her voice makes the butterflies flood my stomach. Ashley, this is Aaron. I need you to tell Mr. Bullocks that I can't come into work today. My voice was so hoarse, and I muttered the words to the phone. I'll tell him. Are you okay? You don't sound too good. She replied, her voice laced with sincerity. Yeah, it's just something happened with Dad, I muttered. She knows what I meant. Okay, I'll tell him, she replied. Thanks. I'll talk to you later. I hung up the phone. As I put it back on the charger, dizziness once again overtook me, and I fell to the ground. I managed to crawl to the wooden end table next to the couch and sat against it. I heard the lock on my dad's door clink, and the door screeched open. I hear him getting closer as his combat boots pound against the hardwood floor. He walks past me. My eyes don't leave him for a second. He walked into the kitchen, and out of my line of sight. I sigh, and look at my hands that are still covered in blood, and then I glance down and see a pool of my own blood. Suddenly, the memories from last night flood my mind. I hurry to my feet and run towards my room, almost slipping in the pool. I shut and locked the door behind me. I grabbed the blade the military had sent me whenever my brother had died during the war. It was his. I jump into my bed, catching my breath. I have to sleep. My eyelids are heavy. The cut is throbbing, and I pass out with a tight grip of the hilt of the knife. The clock showed 12:05 p.m. 8 hours later, I awake to a pounding on my door. I stagger out of my bed and open the door to find Ashley. Her divine beauty and shining smile makes my heart skip a beat, but that smile quickly faded as she sees the cloth and tape over my eye. Are you okay? She asked, staring at it. Yeah, the pain isn't that bad now, I say with a slight sigh. What happened? She asked. I remained silent and lowered my head. Come with me, she said, as she took my hand. Where are we going? I asked. She led me to her car, and she replied, the hospital. My mind was saying no, but having this thing professionally wrapped in some painkillers sounds pretty good right now. I sigh and climb into her car. When we arrive at the hospital, I'm hesitant upon entering. We go into the emergency room, and the doctor greets us. Well, what's the problem today? I look at him and say, I really need this cut rewrapped. The doctor nods with a smile. Okay, I'll meet you in room 203. It's right down the hall on the left. We walk down there, and I wait for the doctor. About 10 minutes later, the doctor meets us in the room. Okay, well, let's see it. I hesitantly remove the bandages, and it reveals a deep cut with fresh blood that begins to pour down my face. The doctor quickly bandages the cut, as well as sanitizes it. Oh, how did this happen? The doctor asked. I glanced at Ashley, and she nodded with care. I sighed and said, I was jumped by 3 thugs, and they took a knife to my face. Well, did you tell the police? The doctor said, not buying my lie. No, I didn't get a good look at him, I replied. He nodded and jotted down a few notes. I'll tell them, and here's a prescription for some painkillers. Take one every 8 hours for pain. And remember, don't take it on an empty stomach. You'll regret that, the doctor said, handing me the prescription. Thanks, Doc, I replied, grabbing it and exiting the room with Ashley beside me. We went to the counter and got my pills as I paid the bill. Ashley and I returned to the car. Why didn't you tell him about your dad? She asked me. I don't know, I replied. You know you're going to have to tell someone eventually, she said with a slight sigh. I know, I replied. It's just, I know he doesn't mean to do it. Well, then why does he? She asked me immediately, her voice laced with concern. I mean, come on, he's been through so much. His therapist even warned me about this. That's no excuse for all of this, she said, taking my hand with tears in her eyes. I lower my head, and my eyes welling up. Well, one. Thanks for being here for me, I told her as I wiped away her tears. We got back to my house around 10 o'clock. My dad's car isn't there. He must be at the bar. Can I come inside? She asked. I was surprised at this. I mean, she knows I like her. Well, screw like, I love her. Maybe it's the time to make my move. Of course, I replied with a slight stutter. We enter the house and make our way to my room. My heart is about to explode within my chest, and my brain is trying to figure out what to say, but nervousness stops me from focusing. We walk into my room. I shut and lock the door behind me. Why'd you lock the door? Ashley asked, kind of confused. Oh, I can't have it. Sorry. I unlocked the door and sat on the bed. Ashley sits beside me. Well, how's work? I asked, kind of awkwardly. Good, she replied. I sigh and say, Ashley, can I admit something? She pondered a moment and then nodded. I softly took her hand with a deep breath. You know my feelings for you are strong, but there's more to it than you think. I love you, and I want to be with you, to treat you like the princess you deserve to be treated as. My voice broke out before I could finish what was on my mind. I'm choking on the words that I want to say. Finally, I just lower my head. Ashley smiles, takes away her hand just to cover her blush. This is the first time anyone has admitted her feelings for her. She turned to me quickly and softly pressed her lips to mine. The kiss I had longed for. Sparks flew. My heart almost stopped. Goosebumps arose on my skin. She pulled back slowly. I'm still sitting there motionless, paralyzed from the kiss. I've had feelings for you too. I just didn't know how to tell you, Ashley said. A large smile formed on my lips, and I kissed her this time, kissing her passionately. Then suddenly the sound of a car door slamming shut shot through the house. My eyes shoot open as I break away from the kiss. My dad is home. You have to leave, I said, quickly leaping to my feet. Why? She asked, kind of confused. If my dad finds out you're here, I don't know what he'll do next, I replied. She nodded and climbed out the window and ran to her car. As she got in, I told her to be safe, nodded, and kissed her before she left. I hurry back to my window, climb inside, and my dad opens my door seconds after I shut my window. Aaron, my dad shouts. Whose car was that outside? Thoughts ran through my mind, but before I could mutter anything, my father drove his fist into my stomach, and the other into my jaw. The second hit sends me to the floor. I snap and tackle him. Quickly, I pin him to the floor, unloading my rage. I rain down punch after punch. I quickly leaped to my feet and stomped down on his chest and stomach. Kick after kick. Stomp after stomp. How does it feel? I scream. I stop and catch my breath. My dad lays unconscious on the floor, his blood on my hands this time. Thoughts run rampant through my head. I have to get out of here, I thought, so I grabbed my knife and a bag of clothes I had packed for a trip, and I ran out of the house and down the road. Chapter 2. The only easy day was yesterday. The cold night air brushes against my face as I run down the road to Ashley's house. I pound on the door, sweat rolling down my cheeks. Ashley's mother answers the door. She's not very fond of me. I'm out of breath and she asks me, What do you want, gothic boy? I shake my head and mutter, Where's Ashley? She's not here. She's down at the mall with some friends, she replies. The mall? When will she be back? I asked, still out of breath. What's the matter with you? She replied. Something happened, and I need to talk to her. I say, slowly catching my breath. She sighs. Something wrong with your father? This really took me by surprise. How did you know about my father? I asked. Ashley told me everything. The abuse, the cut, and everything between you two as well. You admitted your feelings for her. The cut? No, sorry, I skipped a line. You admitting your feelings for her, your guys' history, the kiss, everything, she explained. I stand there still confused. Damn page. I stand there still confused. Come in and rest. It looks like you need it. I swallow hard and nod. Thank you. She welcomes me inside. Can I get you anything? She asked. Yeah, I could use a glass of water so I can take some of my pills. She nods and fetches me a drink. As she walks down into the kitchen, my eyes wander all around, examining all the pictures from the family. She returns quickly with the water. Thank you, I say as I take the water and quickly pop one of the pills into my mouth. Can you tell me what happened? She asked abruptly, taking a seat in the chair next to me. I ponder a moment, and then I sighed. My father came home late and drunk, as can be. I went out and I told him that he needs to sleep. He said I was trying to order him, and he threw his drink at me, tackled me, and then cuts my eye with a shard of glass from his drink. Silence filled the room as the explanation set in. She nods lightly. How about you get some rest? I'll have Ashley wake you when she gets here. I look down and nod before laying back on the couch. I close my eyes and slowly drift off to sleep. Excuse me. I awake to screams and a loud explosion. I quickly jump to my feet and run out the window. All I can see is a large mushroom cloud, and two more explosions echo across the neighborhood. Ashley came running in from the hallway where her room was at. What's going on? Ashley, come on, we have to get the hell out of here. I grab her by the wrist and run out of the house. I tell her to quickly get in the car. She climbs in, we look at the house, and then I look at the sky, and a missile is falling directly for her house. My hands are shaking like crazy, but I fumble the keys around before finally making it into the ignition. I quickly slam it into reverse and hit the gas. Tires score before the car flies backwards. I quickly turn left, tapping the brake as I shift into drive and then flooring the gas. As the pedometer reaches 91, we're past people that are screaming for help. The missile hits, and the force of the explosion almost lifts the car. I do all I can to keep control. The car slides sideways before slamming into the ditch, flipping over onto its roof. The forest dies down, and gunfire rises in the distance. I glance over at Ashley. She's unconscious. No sign of injury, though. I try to open the car door, but it's pinned shut. I muster all my strength and begin to kick at the window. More screams are heard, and I kick with both feet, shattering out the window. I unbuckle Ashley's seatbelt and pull her out. Amazingly, through all that, no injuries. I manage to pull through the shock and trauma, and get her on my shoulders, and begin to make my way down the road as fast as I can. We pass my house. It's still intact. The missiles have stopped falling, and the National Guard have showed up, and some of the gunfire begins to cease. I walk outside and pull Ashley into my arms and take her into my room. I softly lay her on my bed and gently kiss her forehead. I walk out of the room and into the kitchen. My father joins me. "Aaron, where have you been?" I remain silent and begin to fill some bags with food and supplies. "What are you doing? I'm talking to you." He grabs my shoulder and turns me to face him. "Now's not the time. We have to get out of here." "What are you Another boom sound of a missile dropping rattles the house. A missile then crashes through the ceiling and explodes, turning all of us to ash and dust. My eyes snap open as I scream. Sweat drips from my brow. Ashley walks down the hall. "What is wrong?" I shook my head and ruffling my hair. "Nothing. Just a bad dream," I say, wiping away the sweat. My eyes move to the window where the first missile had dropped. It seems so real. There must have been a reason. Maybe it was one of Dad's old war stories. Ashley walks toward me. "Remind me to thank your mother for allowing me to stay here. I thought she hated me," I say, still looking out the window. "She didn't hate you. She just really didn't like you," Ashley said, and she sat next to me. I laughed lightly. "Well, what made that change?" "I think she finally figured out just what you've been going through," Ashley replied. She grabbed my hand and then tugged on it. "Come on, it's late." She pulls me off the couch and leads me to her room. She pulled me and pushed me onto the bed. The bed is so comfortable I almost instantly fell asleep. I lie on my back and Ashley cuddles up beside me, laying her head on my chest. I'm smiling like an idiot. I wrap my arms around her. "So, I have a question," I said, slightly muttering. "What would that be?" she asked me as if she already knew what was coming. I hesitated for a moment. "I was just wondering. Earlier today and all. Maybe we should make this, official. Will you be mine?" Silence fills the room. Ashley smiles and replies, "Only if you be mine." I smile, blushing slightly. I trip over my words. Everything I want to say just won't come out, so I take a deep breath and kiss her softly. A few moments pass, and I pull away slowly. "I'll take that as a yes," Ashley said, smiling cutely as she always does. I nod, smiling. "I love you." "I love you too," she replied, snuggling close to me. My eyelids grow heavy. She lays her head on my stomach. I smile and twine my fingers with hers. She smiles lightly and yawns. She and I both close our eyes and slowly drift off to sleep. I awake the next morning, alone. I look around and rub my eyes wearily. Well, just one eye. I exit her room and walk down the hall. The smell of eggs and bacon fill my nostrils. I walk into the kitchen and see Ashley at the stove. She glances at me. "Well, good morning, hon," Ashley said, smiling. "Breakfast is on the table." I smile and sit next to her mother. "Good morning, Aaron," she told me. "Morning, ma'am. It's funny, after all these years I never really learned her name. Odd." "It smells delicious, hon," I say with a slight yawn. Ashley smiles and brings over a bowl of apples and oranges. "Enjoy, you guys," she said happily. I smile and begin to eat my breakfast. The taste is amazing, possibly the best eggs I've ever had. After we finish our breakfast, Ashley's mother ushers me into her room. "What is it that you need, ma'am?" "What's with Ashley today? I've never seen her this happy," she asked me. I shrug. I don't really know. When out of nowhere, she hugs me. "Thank you, Aaron. You've made my little girl so happy." I smile at this, though a bit confused. My cheeks flush a slight red. She breaks from the hug as the sound of tire squeals pierces through the house. I look out the window. It's my father. He's coming with a gun in his hand. He knocks hard on the door. "I'll get it," Ashley calls out. "No!" I scream as I run toward the door. As she opens it, her eyes open wide as she lets out a small scream as the barrel points at her. I push her out of the way as the gun is fired. The bullet lodges in my shoulder and I fall to the floor screaming. My father grabs me by the ankle and drags me out the door. As I'm screaming, he tells me to shut up or he'll shoot me again. The tires squeal as the car barrels down the driveway, front yard, and down the road. The car swerves side to side as the car reaches 110 miles an hour. "What were you thinking, running away like that?" my father asked me. "I've got a better question. Why don't you just kill me? You obviously don't want me or care about what happens to me," I scream out. "Well, what makes you say that? I love you, Aaron," my father mutters. Anger rises in me at this. "Look at my face," I scream, tearing away the wrap that covered my semi-healed cut. "You took a shard of glass to my face. You put a bullet in my shoulder while trying to kill the only person in my life that matters. And I can't even begin to count the number of punches and kicks you've dealt to me. You call that love?" My adrenaline kicks in, and I no longer feel pain. My father remains silent. I glance ahead and see a semi coming down the road. "Well, you know what? Allow me to repay the favor." I lunge forward and grab the steering wheel with my good arm and turn it toward the semi. My father pulls hard in the other way. The car breaks down a metal barrier, and we fall down a drop-off. The car collides with a rocky slope and rolls countless times. Shattered glass flies in every direction, and the car comes to a complete stop after a downhill 50-foot ravine drop. And that ends chapter 2, and that's where we're going to have to end it today, guys. I'm sorry for the whole cliffhanger ending. I kind of want to keep it exciting. And I hope you guys have enjoyed. Leave any suggestions down in the comments below. Leave a like. I mean, it's going to help me out in the long run, so I know exactly what I can keep doing to, keep entertaining you guys. I'm glad you all, joined me today for this, and I hope you guys like it. This is Death signing out, and I'll scope you guys out later.